Well, hi everyone, and greetings from Marquette, Michigan. This is Bob the Science Guy. I haven't made any videos in a little while, so I thought I would make two that I've been meaning to make for a while. And we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects that combines my interest in astronomy and flat Earth debunking. That's star trails. Now, many of us have seen photographs of star trails, but very few of us actually understand them well and what they show us about our beautiful spherical Earth. So let's cue up the music and learn a little bit about star trails. Now, in order to have a basic understanding of how a star trail is formed, we have to understand how an equatorial mount works. This is a photograph of a German equatorial mount, which is pretty standard. You'll see something there called the polar axis. That red arrow is pointed directly at the northern or the southern celestial pole. We're going to discuss this in terms of the northern celestial pole because I live in the United States. Apologies to my friends down under. Everything on this mount rotates around that polar axis once it's in polar alignment. Now, if you were to rotate the telescope left and right on the axis that the weights are on, that's called rotating it in declination. Now, what we see here is the telescope rotating around that polar axis. This is called rotation in right ascension. Now, the reason that the telescope rotates in right ascension is once you have it polar aligned and you use your declination to center an object in the center of the viewfinder, as the Earth rotates underneath you, that object will appear to rotate around that axis in a counterclockwise fashion. By rotating the entire telescope in right ascension, counterclockwise, you continue to follow that object from sundown to sunup. It'll stay in exactly the same spot in your viewfinder because the telescope is rotating and tracking it. Now, here's an interesting thought exercise. If we started off with a German equatorial mount with a camera on it, and we took a time exposure of the star, and that equatorial mount tracked the rotation of the Earth and rotated in right ascension during that exposure, say we took it for a minute, would we see star trails? No. The stars would be individual points of light. The reason for that is due to the right ascension movement of the equatorial mount. It keeps that star in exactly the same spot. It's compensating for the rotation of the Earth. How fast does this telescope move in right ascension?
A 15-degree-per-hour drift.
15 degrees per hour. It matches the rotational speed of the Earth. And as a result, it will track that star from sundown to sunup. Well, while the normal situation is that that polar axis is pointed directly at the northern celestial pole, let's do something a little bit different. Suppose instead of pointing it at the north celestial pole, we point it over to the northeast sky at the star Capella. Then if we move the telescope quickly in right ascension, what would happen to the stars around Capella? They would form circular star trails centered on the star Capella. This is an important concept to remember for later. Well, if we have a camera mounted on an equatorial mount and we're rotating that mount in right ascension to match the rotation of the Earth, all we're going to get is a star field. We're not going to get any star trails. However, if we put the camera on a standard tripod and point it more or less towards the north, we will get star trails with a time exposure, and those circular star trails will be centered on the northern celestial pole. Now, one common misconception is that the star trails are centered wherever the camera is pointed. That's not correct. Star trails are centered at the axis of rotation of the Earth, at the northern celestial pole. And as a result, if you have a camera pointed anywhere towards the northern sky, you will see a star trail, a circular star trail, centered at the north celestial pole. Now in this case, you will actually see the celestial equator, where the stars are kind of going up in this direction at the right side of the photograph. Now the reason for that is probably best shown with this illustration. As you can see, the axis of rotation of the Earth goes through the north and the south poles. It points directly at the northern celestial pole. All of the stars in the sky rotate around that spot because the Earth is rotating underneath them. As a result, the Earth rotates from west to east, so the stars in the northern hemisphere appear to move counterclockwise. In the southern hemisphere, they will appear to move clockwise because you're sitting on the Earth and it's rotating around that pole, much like the telescope rotated in right ascension on the equatorial mount. As a result, even though the camera in this shot is not pointing directly at the northern celestial pole, the stars form circular star trails around that northern celestial pole because the axis of the rotation of the Earth is the factor that determines where the star trails are centered, not where the camera is pointed. Let's go ahead and have a look at something a little different. Normally when we look at star trails, we're looking at them with a camera on a tripod from the ground. Let's put ourselves in the International Space Station. Now in this shot, we're looking dead ahead on the orbit of the International Space Station. So as the space station orbits around the Earth, we're looking directly ahead in the path of the orbit. Notice that the star trails are vertical. Now, if instead of looking directly ahead of our path on the ISS, we gaze a little bit over to the left, we're going to start seeing something a little different. Notice that we've got a circular star trail centered on a point in the upper left corner here, and we're starting to get that curved appearance to the stars. As we continue to look left until we are 90 degrees to the path of our orbit, we'll see the axis of rotation of our orbit as the center of this circular star trail. In the center of that star trail is not the north celestial pole. It's actually the axis of the rotation or the orbit of the ISS around the Earth. To help visualize that, let's look at our equatorial mount again. Recall that we said that if we took that equatorial mount and we aligned the polar axis not with the north celestial pole, but with the star Capella in the northeast, and rather rapidly move this telescope in right ascension, as you see, we would form a circular star trail about Capella because that is the axis that we are rotating in right ascension. If this instead was the International Space Station, it is rotating around this axis of its orbit. Now, as the International Space Station makes one complete orbit around the Earth every 92 minutes or so, that's far faster than 15 degrees per hour. So the star trails that you will see are centered on the axis of that orbit, much like they would be centered on the polar axis of this equatorial mount if we were instead pointing it to the star Capella and making a rapid rotation of the telescope in right ascension. Now, I said that this video not only tied into my interest in astronomy, but in my flat Earth debunking work. Now, to tell you why I find this so interesting on my debunking work is that this clearly demonstrates something that destroys the entire concept of the flat Earth. One of the things that we constantly hear from the flat Earth, from photographs from space or the International Space Station that show the curve of the Earth, is that it's a fisheye lens. Let's look at something here. Are these star trails round? Are they distorted in any way, shape, or form? If this was a fisheye lens causing distortion, that round star trail would be distorted as well. However, it's not. But the surface of the Earth is very clearly curved. You can't have it both ways, flat Earth. If this is a fisheye lens, both would be distorted. It's not a fisheye lens. The star trails are round. The surface of the Earth is curved. This is Bob the Science Guy signing out from Northern Michigan. Thank you again for stopping by. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. And remember, we have memberships and a Patreon for this channel. In my next video, we're going to have an interesting discussion on the atmosphere and the second law of thermodynamics. So until then, take care, guys.